Hello, Jed Coburnus here from jedcoburnus.com. This is Talk Therapy, and it is all about craziness, and I have no idea what I'm talking about today, and that's okay, because that's what Talk Therapy is all about. Talk Therapy, for me, is just me talking out loud, evolving out loud, something from Kyle Cease that has really paid off dividends for me. Not monetary value, but just in value in itself, that I get to just be myself. I get to just talk. I get to just completely let everything go. And that's what I'm doing, right? Because the only way we can really get to where we want to go is go through the pain, right? It's the first 10 minutes is usually me versus my ego. The second 10 minutes is me with my ego, and the third 10 minutes is just me. It's kind of cool, because by the time I hit 20 minutes, right there, right? You hear that That's my ego going, don't say anything dumb, don't say anything dumb. Because when you record it, it makes it even more real. It's just a tool that I learned from Kyle Cease that is pretty freaking cool. But yeah, so as far as talk therapy goes, it is just something that I use every day that really just opens up my perspective, opens up just a lot of possibility for me and my understanding of myself. So I do it, I share it, I put it out there, just in case somebody else would want to hear, some inspiring words of encouragement or whatever the heck. I don't even know where this is going, but this just feels really good when I do it, so that's why I do it. Why would you do something that didn't feel good? Why would you continue to do something that didn't feel good? I'll continue to do something that does feel good. How about that? Right? So that's where I'm at today. That's what I'm doing. That's what talk therapy is, and I go for 30 minutes. And do I always make it 30 minutes? I don't know, and I love that I don't know if I'm going to make it 30 minutes today. I have no idea. But what I do know is I love the fact that each and every day I get to wake up. I get to be blessed, and I get to do whatever it is that I want to do. Now, do I get to do whatever I want to do all day, every day? No, and that's okay. Nobody really does. But for me, I think that right there's my ego going, don't say anything dumb. I think for me that every day is a new day, and I get to just be, right? I get to just be myself and do whatever I want to do. And that's a blessing in itself. So yesterday I did this presentation, and it went well, right? I had 4 people. It was pretty cool. But I did this presentation about spring cleaning out your mind, and the 3 points that I touched on were mindfulness, movement, and gratitude. And you wouldn't believe, I couldn't believe that sitting and doing nothing got a lot of conversation. Sitting and doing nothing got quite a bit of conversation, actually. Like, the way I present, I don't just stand in front of people and talk at them. I like talking to people, so why wouldn't I present like that? Anyway. So, the way I present is I was just talking to them and talking with them, and it was pretty cool to know that I was talking to them, and they were asking awesome questions as far as how to meditate. Not necessarily, and I wasn't talking about it in a meditative stance, but meditation for me is just sitting and doing nothing, unplugging from the world, not responding to anything on my phone. I turn it on to airplane mode, and if anybody knows what airplane mode is, it just completely locks you out of everything from the internet, from being able to receive a phone call or a text message. So, I do that at least 30 minutes a day. And it was funny because, today's day and age, I think that we forget how to not do anything, right? I think sometimes that we're supposed to be, quote unquote, doing something all the time now, 24/7, 365. If you're not doing something, you're not doing enough. And I completely disagree with that. I think we need to be on the other end of that. I think, yes, why we need to have a job or acquire some kind of income or whatever to survive. But I think on the flip side of that is we need to also really be true to ourselves and really be true to what's happening in today's world. It's the 24/7 world. Like, we can reach somebody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if they want to be reached. 20 years ago, you left work and you didn't have anything at home because there was no cell phone. There might have been, but the damn thing was in like a 10-pound bag, right? But your cell phone now is always with you. You don't leave home without it. You're always connected somehow. And disconnecting has been a challenge. And not having that, right? I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, we talked more about what to do about doing nothing and how that works than anything else in the entire hour. Like, that took up a lot of time, and that is kind of cool. Like, that, because they were intrigued. They were intrigued at the fact that there was not, like, oh my gosh, wait, let's back up a second. Let's go back to that point of you do nothing for how long? And I'm like, yeah, you sit and you don't do anything and you close your eyes if you're comfortable with it, but you close your eyes and you just sit and you don't, no interruption. And then what happens is that voice in your head starts to take over and go, yeah, you should be doing this and you should be doing that, and what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And then all of a sudden, if you're there long enough, if you can really stick it out, what happens is it completely shuts off. That voice shuts off. And then you get to just be you and just be there. And then you get to be a part of an experience in yourself that you haven't probably been a part of since you were a child, right? Like, this experience every day that I do, this talk therapy, helps me tap into that, right? Tapping into my truth. That's what Kyle Cease calls it. He calls it tapping into your truth. I call it talk therapy because that's what it is for me. It's just therapy for me to get stuff out of my head, out into the world. So then if somebody was like, hey, yeah, I heard you talk about that, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Let's expand on that, or what does that mean, or whatever, right? And if anybody would listen to this, great. If anybody doesn't, whatever, right? I just kind of put it out there. But the art of sitting and doing nothing, right? Like, I'm all about movement. The funny thing about yesterday's presentation was I only had one slide on movement. Because movement, man, we gotta move anyway. I think today we gotta move anyway. You literally have to get up out of bed and move, and that burns calories. Okay, so the calories you take in and the calories you burn are not the problem. Okay, they're not the problem. You can move, you can have all the exercise in the world, you can have all of the healthy foods in the world, but if you're not in the right mindset, if you're not in the right place, and there's no right or wrong place, there's just your place, but if you're not happy, right? Like, if you had all the money in the world, and you had all the time in the world, and you had all of the healthy food in the world, and you weren't happy, what the hell's the point? What the hell is the point? There's no point, okay? There is 0 point to keep going. There's 0 point to have all of that. Because your happiness from the neck up is where it's at. If you're willing to change from the neck up, you will change from the neck down. Why do you think I say that every day? Because it's true. It is 100% truth. If your happiness is not there, it doesn't matter if you're working out, it doesn't matter if you're, it just doesn't. So it's fascinating to me that yesterday was like, okay, wait. So you sit there. Wait. Let's break this down. You sit there. You sit wherever. For how long? And what happens? Like, what is that like? It's funny because, and I think it's hilarious, here I'm laughing at my own self, and I don't mean to laugh at them, right? I don't at all. I don't mean to laugh at them. I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing at the experience. Because I'm no better than them. I'm really not. I was the exact same way, going, wait. I gotta just sit and do nothing? right? But think about it. I'm an ADHD kid, man. Like, I freaking sit down and do nothing is almost impossible. But that's what I've told myself for so long. So when you sit there and do nothing, I'm up to like 40 minutes right now. Actually, I'm up to 45 minutes of doing nothing. Whoa, right? Like, when would I ever be proud of sitting there and doing nothing for 45 minutes? And what I'm not doing and what I'm doing are way bigger than anything else. I'm listening to myself. And then I believe, okay, this is my belief, you can believe whatever the hell you want, I don't really care, I'm not saying, but, right, and I think that little explanation, that little fast talk was my ego talking right there, saying, oh my gosh, don't say the wrong thing, you know, but I believe when I'm sitting there and doing quote-unquote nothing, I am actually seeking answers somehow, and God is providing them when I am ready to receive them. That is my belief. You can believe whatever you want. That's my belief. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool for me to experience that. And I love public speaking anyway. Like, I talk organically nowadays. And it's just funny to me that when what's really cool, or actually what's really not cool, is when you have a PowerPoint presentation. Like, I like PowerPoint because it's a visual aid, quote-unquote visual aid. But other than that, man, PowerPoint is not the tool you just sit up there and read from. I can go to an audio book store or whatever, like I can go online and find an audio book of what you're talking about. I do not need you to stand in front of the room and read it to me. That's just piss poor execution, right? Like, that is the worst thing I've ever seen, is somebody standing in front of the room reading their PowerPoint presentation. I'm not 3. I don't need to be read to. Okay? Prepare your shit. Know your shit. And then have a few points up on that PowerPoint and, you know, reference to it when you need to kind of keep on track. But for the most part, engage with your audience. Talk with them. That was the coolest part yesterday, is I got to sit there and talk to them. That was pretty dang sweet. Like, I was impressed with that. I was impressed that I got to talk with them and they were talking back. That was pretty cool to me. Yeah, it definitely was kind of crazy that we talked the whole time about doing nothing. Like, sitting there and doing nothing, which was funny, and it was awesome, and it was just a good time. Talked that one slide about movement, and I think that sometimes I forget about what people don't know because I've been doing it for so long. And what I would have loved to do is point them to my workout of the day, my workouts of the day. This is Jess, she would get after me on that one. Workouts of the day, not workout of the days. Workouts of the day. It would have been awesome to reference those, but that's a conflict of interest, right? Conflict of interest at my job. I don't know if it is anymore because we have different leadership, but that's okay. I was good with it. But it just came down to like a wall squat. They didn't know what a wall squat was and a wall squat hold. And it fascinates me some more to know that people don't know what that is. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's a squat. Well, and it was kind of cool because if somebody has the perception of not knowing what a squat is, I think that sometimes I forget that. Not necessarily not knowing what a squat is, but what's an acceptable squat. That's the big part, is knowing that when you get into the stance of a squat, people think you need to go all the way down. And that's funny to me that you don't have to. You don't have to go into a deep squat to consider it a squat. You just have to squat, right? Like, if it's 2 inches down, like your butt drops down 2 inches, that's it. Like, that's it. That's all you got to squat down. It's 2 inches. Pretty sweet, right? Like, and then you come back up, and that's considered one squat. Isn't that nuts? Like and it was cool because they didn't really realize that. They were laughing, they were smiling, and I'm just like, whoa. People don't accept like a quarter effort anymore. People don't accept, just trying anymore. It's all or none. You're either doing it or you're not. Man, the gray area is where it's at. The action is in the gray area. And when you're operating from that level and the gray area is your butt dropping only 2 inches, and I don't want to say only, but 2 inches down, that's where it goes. That's how far down it goes. That's the point, right? Like when you're dropping down in your squat 2 inches, and that's what it takes, then you're good, right? Like that's how it goes. You can do one squat, pattern interruption every day, one squat. But I think we forget and we overcomplicate. And that's basically what I was saying, right? Like it is just so funny to me to know that people, and not funny as I'm laughing at people, because I don't laugh at people, that's not nice. But it's just, I forget, I think, some days that we just overcomplicate. It's not all or none anymore. Or, we don't have to operate from fight or flight, right? We just don't. Now, 50 years ago, we absolutely had to. This is a big revelation right now. This is kind of hitting me. 50 years ago, it was fight or flight. Actually, probably closer to 70 years ago. And what I mean by that is fight or flight. We had to survive, and that's all we were doing is surviving. As human beings, we survived. Like, we got to the end of the day, that was a win. Now, do people still do that today? Absolutely. But I think for the most part, if we would just be under the mindset of you can do more with less, right? And what I mean by that is time. Like if we would just get into the understanding that time, like you don't have to spend 2.5 hours in a gym to find any kind of benefit. It starts in your mind. And for that, it just gives you the permission to interrupt your movements, interrupt your patterns. And I think, 50 to 70 years ago, we didn't have to worry about working out. Actually, I know we didn't have to. It really wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing at all. It was, we just move because we have to. We have to find food, and we have to, grow our own food, and we have to, you either were surviving or dying, and that's how we were operating. It was like, you went to fight or flight. Like, that was it. You either do or die. And if you continue to operate from that level, from that place in your heart, you only have so long. You only have so long, and your willpower will run out. And so when you get down to that, and I'm only talking to myself, like I love doing these because I'm only talking to myself. It just is a constant reminder of what I'm doing. It's a constant reminder of what I'm actually getting into my day and understanding of myself. So don't take this as me on my soapbox getting after people. I'm just like that revelation of we always had to be in a constant place of fight or flight. We don't have to. We didn't have to at that time, but we didn't know we didn't have to because nobody was really thinking about mindset. I think that mindset, that word or whatever you want to call it, is now a cool thing to talk about. Kind of like what Gary Vaynerchuk talks about when he talks about being an entrepreneur. When he was a kid, entrepreneurship wasn't as cool. Like if you said you were an entrepreneur when he was a kid back in, I think, like 20 years ago, he would have said, if I would have said I'm an entrepreneur, it means I didn't have my shit together and I just needed to get a damn job. But now being an entrepreneur is cool. For some reason, it's quote unquote cool. So then today, now I think mindset, right? Mindset is the thing that is quote unquote cool. Because when we change our mindset or talk about mindset, that's a big deal. Not many people want to talk about it 20 years ago, 50 years ago. They didn't want to talk about anything at all. And now everybody's talking because of communication and how we communicate and then the internet and all that fun stuff. So I think for the most part, when it comes down to it, mindset is the newest quote unquote cool thing, especially in the fitness world, in the health and wellness world, in the business world, and it's all kind of blending together and having the proper mindset to do that. But it more or less comes down to, it's okay to interrupt your patterns, right? It's okay to interrupt your patterns, and I interrupt my patterns every day. I create these workouts of the day, and that's what it is not one day is the same for working out, because that's an extreme way to work out. But, right, watch out for that word extreme, because now you're thinking, well, I can't be extreme when I work out. You can be, because it only lasts 15 minutes, and they're very basic movements. They're very, very basic movements, and it interrupts your patterns within your day enough to put you in that proper mindset, to put you in that place of, you know what, I got 15 minutes every day. I can do this. Now, some of the exercises are pretty, they're pretty advanced, but I show modifications, which, again, here I'm talking to myself because I have to sometimes remind myself to show modifications. Sometimes I'm like, yes, here's a squat, here's this, here's that, right? But it doesn't matter. Anything is modifiable. Like a push-up, do a wall push-up. Do a squat, do a shallow squat. It does not matter. So that's kind of nuts. That's kind of fun. But it comes down to just knowing yourself. Really knowing yourself. And that's where I'm at. I really love myself. I really love what this talk therapy does for me. And some days, I don't know what I'm going to say. Actually, a lot of the days, I don't know what I'm going to say and know what I'm going to do and know I'm going to, keep going. But that presentation was fun, and that was a big deal. And I didn't prepare a lot for that. I had the basic context down, right? The basic understanding for what I was going to say. But for the most part, I didn't know what I was going to talk about until that day, right? I had a few questions, in the PowerPoint, but it was fun. So that's where I think, and there's my ego talking, right? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think that's where I could probably really flourish, is doing whether it be in person talks like that, or webinars, or whatever. And I think that's what the exercise physiology show was for a while, but it wasn't as formal. I just kind of was like, I'm just gonna hit record, kind of like this, kind of like the talk therapy thing. It's kind of the same concept, but it's a little more intimate with this one. But I think interaction would be huge, like do a webinar with interaction on a topic or something, or do like a Google Hangouts where people can ask me questions, or like a Blab IM. These are all just video conference type things, but do something like that and have and if people want to show up, great. I guess if they don't, then I'll just talk, but that could probably work. But I think public speaking is something that I really enjoy doing. Actually, I know I enjoy it. And it was really cool. I could talk in front of 4 people, I could talk in front of 4,000 people, and it'd be one and the same for me. And that was fun. Like, that was really cool. So then if anybody would, think that, oh yeah, well, Jed doesn't know what he's talking about, I'd be like, I'll just tell you. Because I had a question. It was funny because I had a question, from one of the people, and the question was, well, what does sitting there for 5 minutes do for you? And I said, well, scientifically, I have no idea, because I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I can tell you what it does for me, right? And that was very well received. That answer itself was very well received, because then, at that point, I wasn't blowing smoke, right? Like, I'm not going to say, well, the psychological effects are decrease this and increase that, and, junk that I don't even know what I'm saying, right? Like, I can tell you, for me, it decreased my anxiety, it decreases my depression, and it decreases my stress, right? And that's okay. Like, we all have a certain level of anxiety, we all have a certain level of depression, and we all have a certain level of stress. For anybody who says they don't have depression, and I'm not saying clinical depression, I'm just saying you get depressed. We all do. That's kind of how it works. But just being able to be aware of that. The awareness is key when it comes to something like that. So that's it, right? Like, that's a big deal. But that also, for me, is just something that, I don't blow smoke. If I don't know an answer, I'm going to just tell you I don't know, but I can get back to you and let you know. So I can take your name and number and your email, and I'll talk to you about it, right? And if I can't, then I'll point you to a resource that I can, right? So that was cool. So that's how I would approach even being in front of 4,000 people, 400,000 people, whatever, right? Is if somebody asked me a question that I don't know, which could very well happen because I don't know at all, I would just give them the answer of, I don't know, but I can get back to you. If you want to give me your name and email, I can contact you. People, I think today's day and age, love that more than blowing smoke, right? Because people can tell if you know what the hell you're talking about or not. Doesn't matter if you do or not. People can tell, right? Like movement itself, I can tell you all day about it. I can talk to you all day about it. Mindfulness, I can tell you my experience with it within the last 2 years. But I'm not going to tell you anything that I don't know. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you that. Isn't that nuts? And I'm talking to myself right now. Like, this is a huge deal. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to whoever's listening and myself. That if there are times where I don't know, I rarely blow smoke about that. To tell somebody I don't know. That's a big deal to me. For when, the time comes that people just, they talk too much and they don't listen enough. And I know I'm talking this whole time anyway, but I think that's the point, though, is once I talk, if somebody listens, then they're gonna then I get to listen to them to see, like, what do you say? What do you think? What are your thoughts on the things that I was talking about, right? That's a little bit crazy to me to know that I just keep talking and some people are actually listening, and I love the fact that I get to feel good about that, right? I get to feel good about it. And when people talk, people listen, right? There are people out there that listen. And I am one of those people that listen, and I listen intently. And that's just crazy. It's just kind of how it works. But for the most part, talking and listening, it's a two-way street. If you're not talking, or if you're just talking and not listening, you probably don't have much empathy for people, right? Not much at all. So what do you do, right? What do? You just start listening. But that's kind of nuts. Oh, all right. Well, that's it. Good morning. So you just keep going and don't worry about much else. So that's the point. And that's the point of just movement and mindset and everything else that I was talking about today. And there, by the time I hit 30 minutes, sometimes I don't even remember what I'm talking about, and that's okay. Because for the very most part, it's me just talking to and with myself by now, and who knows if somebody made it this far. I just appreciate anybody who would listen to the first 2 minutes of me babble on. And if you get to the 30-minute mark, man, that means you're really, really special to me, because you made it right here. You're hearing me. And I love you for that, and I love me for that. That's because that's really who I'm talking about, is me right now. I'm talking to me, I'm talking to you, and It only makes sense. So, with that, I love it. I love every bit of it. And I think what I'm going to do, is instead of talking about my newsletter at the end of these talk therapies, I'm going to say it at the beginning. Because if you're here at the end, that means you're a very loyal person to me, and you're probably really close, and you follow what I do. You're probably already on my newsletter. And if not, head there, jedcorbernus.com/newsletter. I send daily emails with just some mindset, some nutrition, some movement, some, healthy things that might actually help. So put your name and email in, and if you want to do that, go for it. Otherwise, if you're willing to change from the neck up, you will change from the neck down. I believe in you, and now it's your turn to start believing in yourself. Stay safe out there. Be blessed. Bye for now.